Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336. And listen, alright, welcome to episode 177 of the 815 Exchange. I'm not going to call this a filler episode because honestly, that'd be a little bit disrespectful to the episode, if the episode can be disrespected. But, alright, I'm filming this on Sunday. Football's going on right now, so the NFL segment, we're doing it live, alright? We're doing it live. No after the facts on a Monday morning because tomorrow is Christmas, hence the Santa hat. Alright, we're doing it live. Alright, I got Red Zone and Scott Hansen's beautiful face to my right. So the 4 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock window at least, you will be seeing a little bit of live coverage, I guess, if I do some. The 1 o'clock window just ended. It crushed all of my hopes and dreams. Commanders, please don't pull this off. Thank you, the Jets won because I picked them in the pool this week and I'm fighting for a championship. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys enjoying the content. And as always, anything you're looking for can be found in the description, including your presents for this year, which are my social media links. So if you want to follow me there and keep up with my life, there you go. Also, timestamps are embedded in the video and, of course, included in the, description as always. Alright, we got Shohei Ohtani. Okay, the Japanese, like Yamamoto, it's dead. Dodgers, we'll talk about that, alright? We got the Day of Reckoning in boxing, which, of course, we're kicking off with. We got Ja's back in the NBA. I was wondering what I was almost going to bring a guest on this week just so I had something to talk about. But no, we got plenty to talk about. We even had Central C return in entertainment. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time on this intro, and let's get after it. Like I said, we are kicking us off with the fight game, and that is boxing for the week. Now, Day of Reckoning. Of course, it seems like every single heavyweight contender of any relevancy was on this card. Bar Zhang and I guess Dylan White technically, and a few. Alright, but like 7 of the top 10 heavyweights in the world fighting on this card or something absurd. So how would it play out? Well, of course, we go reverse chronologically, and we're kicking off with the headliner, the main event, one of the faces of boxing, regardless of how you feel about him, but Anthony A.J. Joshua took on Otto Wallin, who, let's be honest, is only really a contender and only has relevance because he took Tyson Fury to the brink, which, after this card and after what we saw against Francis Ngannou, I'm starting to wonder whether that's really that difficult at this day and age. AJ worked this man, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, as I have said many times and as we have famously coined on this show, he beat the brakes off of that boy. Oh my lord, it looked like vintage AJ. I'm talking bleed up to the Klitschko fight and maybe a fight after, I guess, against Charles Martin. AJ, okay? Clinical. It wasn't close. It was, this was a levels to this fight. Purely. Alright, Wallen's corner stops it after the 5th, so we get a stoppage. AJ adds to his KO record. Just clinical. Alright, AJ was on a completely different level, firmly cemented himself, as we will talk about because of the co-main event, as the #1 contender in heavyweight boxing. Of course, we've got Undisputed coming up, I think, next month, with Tyson Fury, the aforementioned Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, and of course, Alexander Usyk, which we, of course, will be covering here on the 815 Exchange. But like I said, AJ, clinical against Wallin, he is the #1 contender. Now, this entire card was essentially set up to set up the super fight, quote-unquote, super fight, if we're calling it that, a long-awaited match between Deontay Wilder and AJ. Well, Anthony Joshua handled business. Deontay Wilder is more like Detroit Piston Tracy McGrady, as I said in the group chat yesterday. Yeah, he's done. Well, I won't say he's done, but as a member of the elite, I don't know. Yeah, Joshua, woo. Yeah, nah, I don't think Wilder wants that, okay? Because Joseph Parker put him to bed. I mean, swept him. Nearly swept him. I mean, you can claim maybe he had 1 round, 1, maybe 2 rounds in that fight yesterday. But, oh my goodness, dog walked. I haven't seen Deontay Wilder ever get dog walked the way that Parker dog walked him. Okay, it was a crazy visual to see all of AJ's, wins just appreciate, and all of Fury's wins just appreciate in real time, with Wallin getting destroyed by AJ, Wilder just getting, dog walked. That's the purest way to put it. Alright, I believe he got shut out, in my opinion, because Parker just, was better at every level. Wilder looked lost. All those supposed skills he's picked up, the Bronze Bomber, no. No, and Parker was taking every shot. And when the right hand, the 1-2, the patented overhand right of Deontay Wilder that has put so many men down was not landing, Wilder showed a complete inability to adjust. A complete inability to adjust, and he had nothing. He had absolutely nothing past that. And once he couldn't get that knockout shot, it was basically just waiting till this ended. Or, honestly, at certain points, thought Parker might knock him out. Okay, but Wilder showed off the chin there, so there's some positive news. But besides that, Joseph Parker showed that he has made the improvements. Only 31 years old. He showed, hey, I need to be considered amongst the elite. I don't know if I'm, on that level purely, but I need to be considered amongst the elites. He made a statement against Deontay Wilder, who is now reeling, and I don't know really where Wilder goes from here. Because I just, time's not on. He's 38 years old, so time is not on his side. His skills are not up to par. I don't know what happens next for the Bronze Bomber. Of course, I'm thankful for all of the highlights and the knockouts, but I don't know if he has it going forward, so we will see. But Parker dog walks Deontay Wilder. Dimitri Bivol skunks Lyndon Arthur, as we honestly expected, okay? Let's be real, Bivol was simply on, once again, this was another levels to this fight, similar to Joshua and Wallen. This was another levels to this fight. Bivol is completely on a different level than Arthur, and I don't think, anybody's really surprised about. This is just a warm-up matchup if, he was coming off the, 13-month break, so this was purely a warm-up matchup ahead of the hopeful undisputed bout versus, we've been saying a lot of Arthur Anthony. We've been saying a lot. Artur Berbatov. All right, Berbatov. AB. Okay, the real AB. As far as we're concerned currently in boxing. No disrespect to Adrian Broner. But, yeah, Beterbiev. Supposedly setting up that. Of course, he's got to face Callum Smith. So we will see what happens when that fight goes down. But Bivol handles business. He's still that guy. Daniel Dubois. Big Baby Miller, of course, I think this was his return fight off of the steroid, of course. He got suspended, 3 years for juicing. He came in at 330 pounds for this fight. Just splendid. Surely, Big Baby Miller, he got it. No, absolutely not. Yeah, Daniel Dubois, once again, this was a part of the finish, by the way, which I'll talk about very soon after this. Dubois TKOs Miller with seconds to go in the entire fight to keep the finish streak going, which put it up to, I think, 5 at that point. But yeah, Dubois handled business. All right, he was a warrior. All right, this was a war. They went back and forth. All right, trading shots. But Dubois was pretty much on the top hand of all of those exchanges. He did a fantastic job. So, yeah, credit where credit's due to Daniel Dubois. Great win for him. And, yeah, hopefully he builds on that, continues the momentum. And like I said, the card, 5 straight finishes. All right, it was the day of reckoning. All right, 5 straight finishes to start this card. K-Bell, Sanchez, Hrgovic, I want to give a little bit of a shout out to. A lot of those emerging heavyweights rising up. We saw some contenders rise a little bit on this card. So, yeah, I think it lived up to the billing. I'm getting a crazy look currently from my father. I'll leave this part in because I said this was almost like a filler episode. He's giving me a crazy look because I have a Santa hat on. It's Christmas Eve. I had to be festive. Don't look at the pool, by the way. It's a bloodbath, okay? I'm just going to tell you that ahead of time. Absolute bloodbath. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to hoops. All right, let's go to hoops. Ja's back. All right, Ja Morant. Whatever you want to. New Age AI, criminal, scum, future face of the league. Whatever you want to refer to him is. All right, 4K trade Ja, he back. All right, and you know who else is back? The Memphis Grizzlies are back. Okay, without a doubt, the Memphis Grizzlies are back, and they are back in a big way. It took 1 week. 1 week for the Memphis Grizzlies to pass the Detroit Pistons in win total for just the season. The Grizzlies, like I said, go 3-0 with Ja back. All right, he averaging what I think 28, 6 and 9. I have written down here in his return. He dropped 35 in his return game against the Pelicans and hit the game winner. He's one of the, he firmly, if you thought there was going to be any type of court rust or, he was going to take a little bit, to get back, absolutely not. All right, he's clearly been hooping in his time off during the suspension, and yeah, Ja's back. One of the best players in the world. I think he's firmly kind of cemented that with how he's come back. And yeah, the Grizzlies, once again, looking dangerous. But, the facts are the facts. We're off to a horrific start to the year. But, of course, this changes things. It's a long season still left to go. But it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for them to come back. But they're off to a hell of a start. The Lakers were down bad. All right, I was on the verge of having to talk about them in a completely different context for this episode. I was going to be like, yo, you know what the Lakers need for Christmas? A win. Unfortunately, or fortunately if you are a Lakers fan, Father Prime answered the call. 1 week ahead of his birthday, the great LeBron James does it again. It's going to be, I guess in a week we can start saying, man, he's 39. He scored 40, he's 39. It's going to be crazy when he scores 40 at 40. There's going to be a bunch of jokes, I bet, on Twitter about that. But yeah, Brown drops 40 against OKC. I feel like the same way that we've talked about the Rockets having the Nuggets number throughout this year, I feel like the Thunder have had this Lakers team's number throughout this year. Similar to the way they've been able to beat the Warriors on a consistent basis. They've been giving the Lakers trouble. It was not to be. It was not to be. Braun said absolutely not. Really took over this game late. It was a classic Braun performance, and they get the win 129-120. He has 47 and 7. Shy did shy things and continues to be an MVP candidate, which was, funny enough, predicted by the 2K sim this year. 34 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists for Shy. He is that guy. No need to rhyme. But, simply put, he is him. But, the king is still the king. Lakers break the skid. And, of course, it is your weekly Detroit Pistons have they won update? And, of course, the answer is absolutely not. They have now officially tied the longest losing streak in NBA regular season history after a loss yesterday at 26. Honestly, I think the Jazz game, which the Jazz essentially fielded a G League squad with all of the injuries they had, I think that was the game that broke this Pistons team because just you could see the soul leave Cade Cunningham's eyes after he did everything he did in that game to try to win, and there was just nothing to come out of it. Like, a broken man. All right, he was a broken man after that game, and I believe at this point the Pistons are a broken team. Surely they're going to win again. I just don't know when. They have a great opportunity against the Nets on Tuesday to, just be tied with the longest record. Of course, that is with the process 76ers. But I don't know. Honestly, they are looking very Bobcats-esque and not in a good way. I don't know. And they just lost to the Nets, by the way. Lost to the Nets yesterday. I didn't recap that game, but they lost to the Nets yesterday, and now they got them again. So we will see what happens. But, man, it is not looking good for the Detroit Pistons. They look firmly planted as the worst team in basketball and show no signs of trying or attempting or even looking very close to winning a game. So much so that the graphics designer for their graphics at the end of the game had to move the Wingstop sign because people are like, yo, I guess they lost the Wingstop. So, yeah, I peeped that, but not good. It's just not good for the Pistons right now, all right? Not good at all. Entertainment, Reacher. I lied last week. I thought all of Season 2 is out. That was absolute lie, okay? The first 3 episodes were out last week. I'm almost caught up, all right? I got episode 4 I need to watch. I just watched episode 3 this morning before football started. Once again, I love the concept. Pretty similar to what I'm pretty much on point with what I said last week. Loving the concept and kind of exploring more of Reacher's backstory and just kind of how they're telling that story. Love seeing the kind of group, work together. Very interested to see where the narrative goes and kind of, I don't know who the villain that's been traveling. I'm very interested to see how he's connected to this agency that's kind of plotting against the team right now. I'm very interested to see how these pieces continue to connect because, very, very, very much so enjoyed. The first 3 episodes, of course, I'll get to watching. Maybe episode 4 tonight if I can get around to it, if I'm not editing this show. But, yeah, Reacher lived up to the hype so far. I think What If Season 2 is out, so I need to get on that, D+. They did not pay me to say that, but shout out to What If. That was a very good series. Even though superhero and comic material currently is in the ditch. Also, Aquaman came out, and The Iron Claw. I got a lot of movies I want to watch, but I have no money currently, so hopefully Christmas blesses me. Music. Yes, we have something to talk about in music. All right, I think it might be the last, because next Monday is January 1st. So is this the last entertainment segment of the year? Deer Park unofficial water break. Central C, all right? My guy, what a year. What a year Cinch has had, all right? Firmly blew up after Doja and kind of cemented his spot as a little bit of a crossover star in the British rap scene. He also got his, in the words of Future, he got his back. Madeline Argy's back with him. I mean, he's up, all right? Cinch is up right now. So naturally, he drops the track Entrepreneur. classic cinch. All right, classic cinch. Nothing too off kilter or away from the status quo, but still a solid track. I was rocking with it, made the playlist. So yeah, you also dropped the MV if you want to go check that out. But yeah, cinch. What a year. All right, what a year. Split decision. Feat Dave though. One of my favorite EPs of the year. Because that was just fantastic. But yeah, Entrepreneur, fire. Go check it out. Ginny, the great. By the way, Blackpink, great way to end the year. All right, Ginny, they re-signed. Then Ginny starts her own agency, OA. Lisa hit 100 million on Instagram today. Just having a great year. All right, a great year. All right, I just want to give them flowers here at the end of the entertainment segment. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Now let's get to the main event, shall we? The main event of the evening, of course, is the same thing it always does here in the autumn, and that is the National Football League. Kicking us off on Thursday, we actually had a Thursday game that was not possessing of terroristic football and garbage quarterbacks and a game that's probably going to end in single digits. We didn't have that this week, all right? So I was very proud of the NFL scheduling for actually booking a competitive game on a Thursday night, all right? I was very, very proud, okay? And I was very proud, very, very proud of one man who I've been proud of the whole year because I didn't call him being a star. I didn't call Puka playing the way that Puka has played this year. But since high school, I was like, you know what? He's one of these ones. He had a solid career in college. Thought it was a solid value pick for the Rams. And boy, oh boy, has it been more than a solid value pick. He is, I think 30-something yards next week. He's got 2 weeks to do it. 30-something yards away from breaking the rookie receiving yardage record. I think he's got that, I would say. He went off in this game again. All right, Puka continues to have a year. And if it wasn't for, honestly, at this point, right, he might still Offensive Rookie of the Year since CJ's been out. So we'll see what happens there. But Puka does Puka things in this game. 9 receptions, 164 and a touchdown. Like I said, he has been a phenom. CD Lamb is... Oh my... I love CD Lamb. Like I said, it's going to be chaotic because I'm watching this live. CD Lamb just scored a touchdown. I could cry. All right, back to the Rams, though. Matthew Stafford has been clinical. Since his return from injury. I believe he's up to what? Yeah, 14 touchdowns and I think 1 interception in his past 4 games, including this game. Just incredible stuff from Stafford. He'd be in MVP talks if he'd played the entire season. If he kept playing at this rate, I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks of this past era. And funny enough, he always kind of is connected to some record-setting receiver, right? Calvin breaking the receiving record, then Coop almost breaking the receiving record, and now Puka here. I think some flowers need to be bestowed upon one Matthew Stafford. So, yeah, shout out to Stafford. 328 and 2 touchdowns in this game. Carr wasn't awful in this game, all right? He wasn't, make Saints want to throw something into a wall for most of this game, at least. 319, 3 touchdowns and a pick. So, a solid game for Carr if we're talking about this year because, listen, I have a Saints fan. It's one of my friends. Shout out to Jamal. And it has been stressed. Okay, that man has been stressed on a week-to-week basis. And he was stressed during this game because, once again, it came down to 1 score. But the Saints just ran out of time. Like I said, Puka went off. Stafford went off. LA gets the win. Yesterday. Feels so weird to say that. All right. I should have picked the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, George Pickens was under fire. He was under fire. He was going through it this past week. Because he didn't block for Jalen Warren and, his diva tendencies that he's had his entire career, by the way. Even at Hoover, okay, back in high school when he was just a 5-star before he even committed to Georgia because we didn't know where he was going to commit. I think he was committed to Auburn, right? We were like, yo, Pickens is a diva. He's a classic, super talented receiver, but he's a diva. All right, he's a head case, a little bit of a head case. But boy, is he talented, man. 4 receptions, 195 and 2 touchdowns. The Bengals could not stop him. All right, they had him and Mason Rudolph looking like prime Brady and Moss. Okay, and the Bengals were due. They were due for their come down. Honestly, this has been the week of come down games because the Colts, we're going to talk about you, 1 o'clock window. Y'all had your come down game. Who else? A bunch of teams. We'll get to it, though. Like I said, the Bengals just... crap the bed. Jake Browning had his moment in the sun. He did not have it yesterday. 3 picks on the game for him. T. Higgins, by the way, continues to finally show up now that he is firmly off of my fantasy team, which is just great. But you know what? It doesn't really matter. I'm 2-10 in that league. 5 receptions, 140, and a touchdown for T. Like I said, Pickens really dominated this game, him and Rudolph. 34 points might be the most points I think the Steelers have scored all season. So, yeah, every Steelers fan I knew was finally back talking. I think I saw about 5 different, IG posts. It was getting out of hand. Don't get too much dip on your chip. You were still a barely over 500 team, and I do not think this is going to last. But you know what? Pickens, great way to answer adversity. The Bills and the Chargers. All right, it was never in doubt. Okay, it was never in doubt. Even when it came down to a Tyler Bass, essentially what ended up being a game winner, it was never in doubt. Even with no Brandon Staley, this is the Chargers, okay? This is the Chargers. This is what they are, okay? A top 10 pick team with more talent than you would expect for their record, okay? That is just what they are. The Bills continue to surge. They're on a little bit of a winning streak right now. Josh Allen scores not one, not two, but 3 times, I believe, in this game. Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown for Josh Allen, who is having a little bit of redemption. Another guy that was kind of going over some flack, similar to how we just talked about T. Higgins, that was kind of struggling a little bit early in the season. Went through the wire, and he's kind of answering back a lot better and responding well down the course of this season as the Bills try to make the playoffs. So credit where credit's due to Josh Allen. Gabe Davis, by the way, as well, had 4 receptions, 130 and a touchdown. And the pressure, it was the defense. Again, Easton Stick, we don't really have too high of expectations, but the Bills' defense has been phenomenal the past 2 weeks. You saw what they did against the Cowboys in that offense. Here against a much less talented Chargers, an injury-filled Chargers offense. They did what you would expect, all right? 5 sacks, I think 7 or 6 QB hits on the night for the Bills. A great performance defensively. Josh Allen did Josh Allen things offensively. That's always a recipe for success. The Bills get it done 24-22. Let's talk about what's going on right now, yeah? Or what just finished up, all right? We'll talk a little bit about what's going on right now, even though it'll be done by the time you see this. But 1 o'clock window earlier today, the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco, man. What can I say? Maybe he is elite. Maybe Joe Flacco is still elite. Maybe he is still elite. 368 and 3 times. Now he had 2 interceptions. All right, he had 2 interceptions, but still. 368 and 3 touchdowns. But let's be real. If you watched this game, if you heard about it, and unfortunately, if you played Amari Cooper in fantasy, oh my goodness, and it's the playoffs currently. Listen, moment of silence for our brothers and sisters that had to play Amari Cooper in fantasy football this, okay? I am so sorry. I apologize. I really do, because it's over. Your championship, it's done. 1 week and done. The man had, and I quote, 11 receptions, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is over 50 fantasy points for you degenerates out there. Coop went off. All right, it looked like Alabama Amari Cooper. Maybe even a little bit of a Dallas Cowboy Amari Cooper in this game. The Houston Texans were petrified and could do nothing. All right, they were they tried every coverage in the book. I saw man coverage. I saw zone. I saw press. I saw double teams. They might even try to triple team him at one point. It did not matter. Coop was going off. All right, him and Flacco were dialed in this game, and they dominated. All right, they dominated, and by the time the Texans really started to steer the ship in the right way, which of course was in the 4th quarter, it didn't really matter because they were behind by too much. So yeah, the Browns get it done, 36-22. Davis Mills, like I said, really padded the stats in garbage time, so really nothing too notable to talk about there. And once again, the Browns, 10-5, bro. They're 10-5, very, very quietly. Very, very, they're kind of the opposite. Honestly, in record with the Chargers and with the Browns in terms of expectations, like, you would have thought, okay, maybe the Chargers get it together this year. They're looking at maybe 10-5 right about now. The Browns, you're thinking, all right, they don't really got nothing. Deshaun didn't look like that guy last year. And, hey, apparently Deshaun got hurt. Yeah, they're probably about 5-10 right now. Complete opposite, all right? Partially due to that Cleveland defense stepping up with Myles Garrett, Greg Newsome, and co. and the way they've cooked this year. But also, credit where credit's due. Joe Flacco has come in, and like I said, he's been elite, quote-unquote, all right? 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in each of, I think, the last 2 games he started. So credit where credit's due. Like I said, Amari Cooper has been Cooper. And by the way, David Njoku, one of the best tight ends in the league. We haven't really talked about that too much. And we see a lot of other kind of tight ends kind of get that credit. But David Njoku has been one of the consistent factors for this Cleveland offense and has stepped up and made catches every step of the way. One of the best tight ends in the world. Browns get it done versus the Texans, 36-22. And yeah, they moved to 10-5, taking firm control of that wild card spot. The Jets and the Commanders. This went down to the wire. All right, Antonio Gibson scored with 4 minutes and I think, 52 seconds to go. I was terrified. I thought, man, the Jets, I fell for it. The Jets are going to fold. But luckily, on this day, New York Jets fans, it's been a rough year, but you do get a Christmas present with a victory against the Washington Commanders today. A game winner. All right, Zerline barely got that in, by the way. I mean, put that in the corner. He couldn't have gone any farther left, or it would have been a very, very sad scene right now for Jets fans. But they do get the win 30-28. Came down to the wire, like I said. Breece Hall had a phenomenal game. 95 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. He also had 12 receptions and 96 yards. All right? Again, if you played Amari Cooper, not a good week. If you played Breece Hall in PPR this week, not a good week. All right, it's the championship. You probably are not looking too good right now because the boy went off. All right, Trevor Siemian said, I am a check down artist and I'm going to exploit this to its best. And he was one of the catalysts. All right, he was the catalyst, I dare say, for this Jets offense throughout the entire game, and really especially trying to, get that last drive going. They made great choices, contrary to one team I'm going to talk about very soon, and that is the Tennessee Titans. But the Jets, like I said, came through clutch, fended off a great comeback from Jacoby Brissett and that Commanders team, and were able to get it done. They get the win 30-28. I said I was going to talk about the Titans, so here we go. I feel like the game was in their hands and they just choked. All right? I mean, it's honestly immaculate how badly they choked this. It always happens, right? We talked about this in college football. I think the CFB segment, like 2 weeks ago. Or maybe it was the NFL segment 2 weeks ago. But we talked about how it just seems inevitable whenever you give like a team nowadays like over a minute and 30 seconds to drive down the field. It just feels like a given that they're going to drive down the field and score. Like, no doubt in my mind. Like, I rarely ever see the stop happen nowadays, where a team just stalls out. And once again, it happened here. All right, once again, it happened here. Derrick Henry scores with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to give the Titans the 17-14 or 17-13 lead. And I'm thinking, all right, we good. Seattle hasn't been able to get anything going on offense all day. Geno Smith is back, but he hasn't looked too great. Surely the Titans will be able to hold it down. No, absolutely not. And here's the catch, right? Cody, by the way, shout out to Kobe Parkinson. Great touchdown, by the way. Great grab to take the lead. Makes it 20-17. The Titans, with 57 seconds to go, start rolling down the field. But then the worst clock management I have ever seen from a veteran quarterback by the hands of Ryan Tannehill puts this game away for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, Tannehill cannot. You've been in the league for how long? You were how old? Alexa, how old is Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill is 35 years old.
35 years old.
On July 27th, 1988.
Thank you. 35 years old. 35 years old, you've been in the league 10 years plus, and you cannot run a 2-minute offense to save your life, apparently. You cannot take that sack in that situation. Throw it away. I don't even care if you take the grounding in that situation. Throw it away. You cannot take the sack in that situation and waste that much time, and then they couldn't get they got the snap off, and then somehow, someway, Tariq Woolen, I don't know how you're 5 yards away from the sideline, and you trip and fall before you hit this. I don't know how that happens, all right? The Titans, anything that could go wrong in those last 2 plays went wrong. It was a disaster class from Tannehill. It was a disaster class from the Titans, and the Seahawks get it done. Like I said, they came through clutch. Nobody really of note. Shout out to the defense, though. Tariq Woolen came through. Even without Witherspoon this week, Seahawks made it happen. And yeah, Titans, grim. The Atlanta Falcons take care of the Indianapolis Colts 29-10. Again, the Colts are another one of those teams that I said, had a great week, right? We were all talking about, look at Minshew, one of the best. I called him one of the best backups in the league, right? But I also mentioned that he will also have those games where he just does not have it and you are going to get pummeled. This was one of those weeks, even against the offense as putrid as Arthur Smith's. And then the Falcons, all right, 29-10, wasn't close. Shout out to Young Haku because he was cooking, all right, player of the game. He had 4 field goals in this game. But that's all, the interesting things to talk about from this Falcons-Colts game because, let's be honest, you don't want to hear me talk about the Falcons and the Colts. Last game that's finished, all right, Lions and the Vikings. This was game, honestly, bar the Super Bowl, preview we have on Monday, on Christmas Day, on tomorrow. This is my pick for game of the week, at least the ones that have been played. Lions get the win 30-24 over the Vikings. This was a fantastic game. All right, back and forth. We went back and forth. They were just trading the lead. Jahmyr Gibbs went off in this game. He had 2 touchdowns, 80 yards. ARSB had 12 receptions, 106, and 12 touchdowns. Or, not 12 touchdowns, dear God. 2 touchdowns. Or 1, excuse me. Monty got in the box. It was a complete performance. A complete performance. This is the performance that the Detroit Lions need. They needed a performance like this. They needed to prove that, hey, against the team that now we are supposed to beat. A little bit of a tough game. Got to beat the Vikings at home. But if we want to be non-pretenders here in the NFC, we got to win a game like this. We can't lose a trap game like this. They needed a performance the way that they performed today, and they came through. All right, simply put, they came through. Everybody showed up. Everybody showed up. All right, Mylefanu had 5 tackles, 2 sacks. He was the leading pass rusher. They had 2 sacks as a team. Unfortunately, we are not talking about Hutch this week. I know, tragic Lions fans. But still, a great game from you guys. Like I said, Gibbs, ARSB, we're cooking. Listen, Goff didn't do too much. Got it to his playmakers. That's all you need. And, don't turn the ball over. That's all you want. That's all you want. On the flip side, one of the things that cost the Vikings the game here was the fact that Nick Mullins threw not 1, not 2, not 3, but say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, 4 interceptions in this game, and you are not winning a game in the NFL when your quarterback throws 4 interceptions, unless he throws for unless he has like a Brett Favre, 400-yard, 4 touchdown, 4 pick game, you're not winning. All right, you're not winning, and not against a contender like the Lions, and that's what happened to the Vikings. Mullins did have that 400-yard mark. A lot of that due on that last, possession, trying to make that run before he threw his 4th interception. But it wasn't enough. Also, I know it's not a running league anymore, but 17 yards rushing also is just not going to cut it. All right, you got to have some bounce to that attack, and they had absolutely none of that this week. Jettas was back in a big way. 6 receptions, 114 and a touchdown. That Javinci jacket he had in the pregame on the Sunday NFL Countdown was so tough. All right, that was tough. And Jettas looked back in this game, especially with Addison getting knocked out with the ankle in this game. But it was not enough. All right, it was not enough. Like I said, Mullins throwing 4 interceptions. You can't win this way against the contender. And shout out to the Lions. Like I said, they needed a win like this, and they got it done. And because we can't talk about the NFL games to come, let's briefly summarize what's going on right now as I speak. And that is the Buccaneers are beating the Jaguars. All right, and you can come back to this. The Buccaneers are going to beat the Jaguars. I do not know why the Jaguars continue to trot out the corpse of Trevor Lawrence, but here we are. All right, here we are, and they're going to dig themselves into a hole because they're going to keep losing games, and they're going to keep needing him more. They should have sat him after he messed up, what was it, his knee? Should have sat him and just let him heal that. But then he messed up his shoulder, and then he got a concussion, and now he's playing this week because they got out of concussion protocol. I don't know why you were not protecting your franchise quarterback. This was very similar to the Dolphins last year with Tua, and when he had all those concussions, they just kept bringing him back out there. I don't understand it, but yeah, Baker Mayfield and the Jaguars look like they're going to pack them up. The Bears are packing the Cardinals, par of the course. And the Cowboys and the Dolphins look like they're going to give me a heart attack, which is once again par of the course for the Dallas Cowboys. But we are winning, so I will take it. But the Dolphins are on their goal line and look like they're about to score. So that should be a very good game, though. That probably ends up being one of the games of the week. And like I said, nobody really cares about the Patriots and the Broncos. But on Monday, we do have 3 Monday night games. The Chiefs need to beat the Raiders after the Raiders embarrassed them a couple weeks ago. The Eagles have a free get-back game against the New York Giants. And, of course, in what I believe the 2 best teams in the league currently, the Baltimore Ravens take on the San Francisco 49ers in what should be potentially a Super Bowl preview. This used to be the Harbaugh Bowl before Jim went to Michigan, but still should be a good one between Shanahan and Harbaugh. And, of course, MVP implications, CMC, Purdy, Lamar, should be a good one. I'm sure a lot of people will be watching that, even though I know Christmas is supposed to be the NBA's day, but still, hell of a matchup presented to us for Monday Night Football. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. Yes, my other Christmas present is that this is not going to be an hour long, which you can probably guess by me recording it on a Sunday during NFL games. But let's talk about something that has brought me great strife this week, great sadness. I mentioned it actually, Mike Evans is a dog, all right? We knew this, okay? An absolute dog. Like I said, Bucs are going to pack up the Jags. But like I was saying, something that has brought me great sadness this week. It was the coal in my, Christmas package. I'm sick and tired of the I am sick. I want to say this into the mic. I am sick and tired of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, I wasn't born in the '90s. Okay, I was a 2000s baby, 2001. So I didn't see my favorite team, the New York Yankees. I didn't see us at peak, I guess, evil empire. At least I was too young to really feel the peak evil empire Yankees are signing everybody effects. But I have to imagine that this is what it feels like, and maybe even a little bit worse, okay? Because at this point, after signing Yamamoto to a 12-year, $325 million contract, this one's not on layaway. They actually do have to pay him over the 12 years. After this, and them giving $700 million plus to Shohei Ohtani, I'm sick. I am disgusted. I am in favor of a salary cap. All right? And for my European football fans, or soccer fans, as we call it here in the States, the Los Angeles Dodgers are basically PSG at this point. All right? I have never in my life, in North American sports, seen a team spend over $1 billion in an offseason. All right? This is ridiculous. On 2 players. All right? On 2 players. Now, obviously it makes sense for the Dodgers because, one, you're trying to win a World Series, and obviously you want to get the best players possible, and also from a business perspective, this basically ensures the Dodgers will get every single Japanese star, like Roki Sasaki. We can do the intro today, all right? Whether he gets posted next year or in 2 years, it's done. He's going to the Dodgers. Y'all shouldn't even bother. Steve Cohen, don't even worry about it. He going to LA. He's going to LA. Murakami, he going to LA too. So it's a great business, decision by the Dodgers. But also, I mean, goodness gracious, all right, it just doesn't feel fair. The Pirates have spent $14 million in free agency this year, and the Dodgers spent $1 billion in the same sport. They spent a small developing country's GDP on 2 players. It's absurd. Honestly, it's absurd. I'm sick of the Dodgers signing every marquee free agent. It is getting out of hand. I am disgusted. Something funny, though, even though, of course, I'm mature enough to know that it was nothing weird and nothing crazy, but it is kind of funny. Joe Kelly, of course, who used to wear 17 for the Dodgers, of course, Ohtani wears 17. Kelly gave Ohtani his number. As a result, Ohtani did give Joe Kelly's wife a brand new Porsche, which is just crazy. It's crazy. At Christmas time, your teammate who's taking your number gives your wife a Porsche. I really wonder how his Christmas gifts are going to be able to live up to that. But, of course, I'm sure there's nothing going on there. But still, I am praying on the Dodgers, downfall. I surely hope they win 130 games again and lose to some 80-win team in the NLDS. That is the only thing that can bring us justice in this dire time. The Dodgers signed Yamamoto, and I am sad. NHL. The kids are at it again. All right, we have the first time ever in NHL history, we have 2 Michigan goals in the same day from 2 of the great young stars, honestly, of the league. Of course, Rookie of the Year, generational talent, Connor Bedard, who was carrying the Chicago Blackhawks already. He scores an absolutely disgusting Michigan. And we're like, yo, Bedard. And then an hour later, Trevor Zegras, in his first game since November, welcome back, Z, by the way, he goes on the fly. He's flying. Normally, you see the setup for the Michigan, right? They get it onto the stick, and then they kind of, Zegras is going approximately like 60 mph around the backside. And just, I don't even know how his hands are different because I don't know how he picked it up so fast and got it up to just, on the fly. Basically a fadeaway Michigan. Just ridiculous goal from Zegras. One of the goals of the year. And yeah, nice to see 2 of the young stars of the league back at it again. Unfortunately, I think both of them, the Blackhawks I think won, but the Ducks did lose. But yeah, good to see the young talent, knowing young talent things, continuing to grow the game and showing off those filthy, disgusting hands that both Bedard and Zegras possess. Also, World Juniors are coming up, so we'll talk about that when that comes. And to end off, before I bid you adieu, college basketball, nothing too crazy this week. Besides that incredible game of the year candidate between FAU and Arizona yesterday, FAU gets the win 96-95. They needed this. They needed a win like this to kind of position themselves as a top 10 team. It is crazy that I saw this team in person, by the way, because they kept most of their stars from last year, so I'm still counting it. But yeah, crazy to see a team that you watched at Charlotte, right? And they're performing on this level. So yeah, credit where credit's due to FAU. John L. Davis, he's been that guy for a minute. 35 points and 9 rebounds. If you didn't know, now you know. Caleb Love still has not seen a shot that he did not love. 8 for 25, but he did have 26 and a lot of big shots in this game. So yeah, still shout out to Caleb Love, even though he's the op. Ballo, by the way, Omer Ballo. 13 and 21 in this game, but it wasn't enough. Like I said, FAU was able to get it done in double overtime thanks to John L. Davis's 35. Gaffney also had 20 for them. So yeah, shout out to the Owls. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Next week, I think, is on New Year's Day, so we'll have college football to talk about. And, of course, everything that happened in Week 17 in the NFL. And if the Dodgers somehow, some way found a way to sign Roki Sasaki prematurely, we'll talk about that. Combat sports should be done, and hopefully somebody drops an entertainment, maybe Playboy Cardi. I don't know. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Ocho, signing off.